All right, welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. Thank you so much for sticking around with us, and I hope you're having a great Monday morning so far. Today, lots of places are opening back up. The services sector, parts of it, opening back up this morning. And, you know, one of the things that we're always concerned about is recruitment. We're always concerned about people getting their jobs, keeping their jobs, and the quality of jobs and how people treat you while you're at work. And this morning, we're going to be chatting about the importance of a code of ethics for recruitment agencies. And here to do that this morning, I want to welcome the interim president of the TT Organization of Recruitment Services Providers, Lara Quintrell Thomas. Good morning, Lara.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
So far, so good. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Glad to be alive on this very, very beautiful morning here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Indeed. So first of all, tell me about the Trinidad and Tobago Organization of Recruitment Service Providers. What are you guys about?
Okay, so thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. So our very catchy acronym is TORSP. So the Trinidad and Tobago Organization of Recruitment Service Providers really is something that's been in the making for a long time. As you know, most professions in this country have their own professional association, architects, engineers, accountants, and so on. So for a long time, this has been an idea that's been brewing, but we never really got around to doing it. And then around the middle of 2019, we began conversations with the Ministry of Labour, particularly around the exploitation of migrant labour, the Venezuelans coming into the country, exploitation, human trafficking. So there was a lot of conversation around how do we, as an industry, as recruitment service providers, protect ourselves, make sure that we establish a code of practice for our industry so that any job seeker, Trinidadian, Venezuelan, it doesn't really matter, knows that they are not going to be exploited, that they're going to be treated with a certain level of professionalism, integrity, and so on. And secondarily, we had a conversation with the ministry. They have been reviewing a number of pieces of labour legislation over the past few years. This began under the previous Minister of Labour. And so they really wanted a focal point for our sector, as distinct from the human resources managers of organizations, because obviously we provide a very distinct service. So it was a number of things.
Lara, first of all, tell me the difference in the services that you guys provide, because to me, a recruitment agency is just a big HR company, or am I incorrect in that assumption?
No, you're correct, and obviously recruitment is a core part of HR. But HR goes a lot broader. So if you're the HR manager for a firm, yes, you're handling recruitment, but you're also handling compensation, severance, training, development, all of those different things, workforce planning, whereas a recruitment service provider tends to be mostly focused on filling vacancies. So our job is, and we really run the gamut from entry level right up to executive recruitment. So our job would be, so my company, Regency, for example, a client may call and say, look, we need a secretary for 3 months to cover maternity leave. We would send somebody in for a short-term contract. We would liaise with the HR manager. They would be our point of contact at the client's firm. But we have a database, a sort of a bank of job seekers looking for opportunities in different sectors. So it's part of HR, but it's a bit more focused in one specific area.
Okay. And from what I understand, you guys are going to be making sure that all of your members are complying with certain practices, yeah?
Right. So we have 15 founding members who are really the sort of best, most well-established recruitment service providers on the island. Some of us have been around for 20 plus years. And the idea is that we have, and this is something that we've already shared with our members and they've agreed to, we've developed a code of conduct. And this is really to make sure that we practice our discipline with ethics, with integrity. We have 9 core principles that we've outlined, which include respect for the law, of course, respecting diversity, respecting prompt and accurate payment, for example, if you have individuals on your payroll, making sure that they get paid properly, confidentiality of job seeker data. So there's a number of principles that we've put in to protect job seekers. And then by extension, any agency, any recruitment service provider that joins our organization is by association assumed to be practicing under this code of ethics. So we have 15 members that we're starting with. And of course, as we get stronger and we grow, we would welcome any organization that purports to be a recruitment service provider can join or apply to join. But what we really wanted to say to the public, job seekers and employers, is that if you want to use a recruitment service provider, we are the 15 agencies that you should work with. Anybody else who's not on our registry is probably not applying a code of ethics, is probably not treating with people according to the law, and that of course leads then to exploitation, unfair pay treatments, even something as simple as charging a candidate for recruitment services. We don't do that, and we do not permit that under our code of ethics. So if you go to somebody who says, listen, I can find you a job, give me $300 and I'll find you a job, that needs to be a red flag. So this is why we have set down these codes of practice. Our website's being built as we speak, so that hopefully will come online in the next month or so, and that will lay out for job seekers and clients exactly who we are and why it's important, if you're using a recruitment service provider, that they're one of our members.
All right, Laura, a couple of questions.
Yes.
First of all, how many of these recruitment service providers are there in general? I know you have 15 members, but in the country, how many, do you know how many there are?
Right, so we have, at the last count when we were sort of looking at who's out there, something in the region of about 23, 24, but a number of those are online only.
Right.
So there's no sort of office, you're interviewed virtually, it's an online platform. That's not really who we're treating with. These, although most of us, of course, have our websites and we do a lot of our work remotely now.
Yeah.
But it's really the established. So if it's a job board, like CaribbeanJobs.com,
right,
that is not a recruitment service provider. They're just they're a job board. So they'll post jobs from lots of different places you can apply.
All right.
They will have their own code of practice.
Understood. And how are you going to ensure that your members stick with this code of conduct?
So the intention as we build and become more robust is that on an annual basis, members will certainly receive training of some sort. We will review codes of practice. We will review, they are asked to sign agreeing to the codes of conduct. We're not an auditing association, so our intention is not to go in and observe agencies and make sure they're complying.
So how do you make sure then? How are you certain that these people are complying?
So again, there is a certain, as in all associations, right? I mean, anybody can tick a box and say, yes, I'll comply.
Exactly.
There's always a certain amount of trust in your members. However, what we do intend to build in is a mechanism whereby if a customer, whether it's a job seeker or an employer, has a grievance against one of our members, we would then have some sort of mechanism to either conduct an investigation, because remember, they can also go to the Ministry of Labour.
Right.
They can report, some sort of error. I think at the moment that the challenge is, because there's nowhere to go, if you have an issue or concern with an employment agency, there's nobody to go and sort of register your complaint with. This is something that we hope not, but we do anticipate we may get a few as we become more well known and better established.
Okay.
So there will be some sort of M&E mechanism built in over time. I expect that to certainly be part of who we are.
All right. Well, Laura, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning, and congratulations on this venture, and I hope to see it grow, and we'll check in with you guys again to make sure and keep you guys in check as well.
Thank you so much. Yes,
No
and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
All right. Laura Quintrell Thomas, the interim president of the Trinidad and Tobago Organization of Recruitment Service Providers, and they are making sure that, recruitment agencies, that they keep a code of conduct, and I think that's very important.